Well, good morning, Chris. Tell me your name and your business, and tell me a little bit about your backstory.
Yeah, my name's Chris Meade. I'm from a small farm town of Woodstock, Connecticut, and I live down here in Miami, Florida. And we invented CrossNet, the world's first four-way volleyball game.
And I look at you and I'm thinking, I wonder where he's coming from. And I said, where are you coming from? And you said, I'm coming from Houston. And then you told me your story, and you told me you'd been down in Houston and you'd inked a deal with a supplier. Mm-hmm. And I was speechless. You know, I interview a lot of people in this podcast, and I get a lot of people come in here who have some really amazing high-tech ideas. And, you know, and that's where we are. It's 21st century. But what was so compelling about your story is that, you know, these interviews that I do here, I consider to be kind of a mutual sharing platform so that other people can look at these podcasts and see something, or, you know, somebody that reminds them of themselves to compel them. And I'm looking at this, I'm going, you know, there's nothing about your business plan that any other human being couldn't do.
100%.
How much time do you have invested in your business plan so far?
Time.
I mean, years, months.
Yeah, we've been doing it for 3 years now. So
3 years.
Yeah, 3 years, not stopping any. We're working harder every day now than we were back then.
Yeah.
Yeah, we started it, literally, we had an idea. We wrote.
So when you say you had an idea, where did this?
Yeah.
I mean, were you at a keg party?
No. So I was back home. I lived in New York, and I was coming home to Connecticut for whatever break.
Right.
And our friend was home. He just graduated Northeastern, has an engineering degree.
Yep.
And he just called us up and my brother up. And he's like, I'm coming over. Let's invent something. He comes over. He sits on the couch for like 5 hours to like 5 in the morning.
Just brainstorming.
And we're just writing ideas down. So like one led to 100 to 500. And we're checking them off like, oh, this sucks. And four-way volleyball was the last one left. And we Googled it. Couldn't find anything. Social media, couldn't find anything. So we're like, all right, we're waking up the next day and we're going to go like rig one up from Walmart. So we did that. We had our friends over. We started tying the nets up and just made up some rules on the spot. We didn't come in until like the sun came down.
That's like Edison. You know, I think Edison said, you know, it took 9,000 tries to figure out how to make a light bulb work. My God, you guys did it in 5 hours. And then now, where are you today? I mean, do you have manufacturing in place?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So the next step was we had our proof of concept.
Mm-hmm.
Got to reach out to some manufacturers. Tried to find like one that was really dedicated to sporting goods, which took a while. But we have this blueprint for something that quote unquote nobody's ever made before.
Right.
So we got to be a little bit secretive, and we're a little bit worried about that.
Yeah.
So we found one that we really trusted. Like signed some paperwork, sent it over. We waited a few months. They sent us over a prototype. Worked pretty well, but we're like, all right, there could be XYZ improvements.
Yep.
So we sent it back. We got it to be height adjustable.
Okay.
So now that it's quick.
Yep.
Goes down to men's, women's.
Poke a button, slides up and down type deal.
Yeah, super easy.
Yep.
So, now we have a manufacturer. We went from producing 50 units, and now we're making 12,500 at a time.
How many have you sold?
We've sold to date over 20,000 in the last year.
And where, you know, you don't have to name drop who you've signed deals with, because I don't want you to be in a situation where you have to, you know, claw something back. But in reality, what does 2020 look like?
Well, in reality, I mean, we don't even need to claw anything back. We're going to be at Dick's Sporting Goods. We'll be at Home Depot. We'll be at Walmart, Target, Amazon, Academy Sports, Shield Sporting Goods, Models. Pretty much anywhere and everywhere, hopefully.
How many units are you going to sell this year?
We're shooting for 40K. That would be great. We could sell 40,000. That would be a really good year.
Well, I can imagine there'd be 40,000 in just inventory the first shot.
Yeah, 40,000 would be really nice. So
wow,
that'd be about 2x of what we did last year, and we're already 4x for the year from what we did So things are growing really quickly. So it's just learning how to stay in control of the inventory and buy appropriately.
Chris, dude, I'm your biggest fan. I mean, I'm speechless. I mean, this is one of the more interesting interviews I've done in a long time. Do you have any manpower? I mean, or you're just two dudes in a truck?
No, so it's my brother Greg, who's our other co-founder and CEO, and our friend Mike Del Papa. So he's the other co-founder. Yep. So we actually just hired a full-time employee, actually 2 full-time employees. So we have Brittany, who's a friend of ours from Indiana, and she just runs all events. So we're going to be at almost every big music festival. CrossNet will be there.
Setting them up, dragging people in.
Exactly. We're doing a lot of Relay for Life stuff, dance marathons. So we're going to be at a lot of colleges. And then we have a full-time fulfillment person, our best friend Kevin, who we just hired yesterday, actually. So
well, see, and Chris, this is honestly, you're like the poster child for why I wanted to do this. I got really, really sick and tired of chasing the dollar. I've chased the dollar for 30 years. I brought home more bacon than anybody I know. And what really annoyed me about the money business is the money business is so addicted to chasing the next unicorn. And I worry because I know that your generation is not going to have the same opportunities even my generation had. And more importantly, I've talked about this on this podcast. You haven't seen it, but we've talked a lot about in the next decade or so, there's going to be a lot of jobs that are going to go away. That's just, there's nothing we can do to change that. And where I really got bent out of shape is that I had a gentleman about a couple years ago. We were in a negotiation, and it got heated. And I said, this deal is more than just a piece of paper. And the guy came right back at me and goes, deals are just pieces of paper. And, and I walked away from that. I shut up. It wasn't worth the breath. But that really stuck in my throat, because if deals are just pieces of paper, then countries are just pieces of dirt. Countries are built on dreams. Countries are built on crazy dreams. But that's what makes this whole boat float. And in order to transition into the 21st century, we're going to have to create a lot of jobs, 100 million jobs in the next decade. And it's going to take people like you. Because, see, you're like the most patriotic person that there is. Not only have you created a job for yourself, but now you're creating a job for somebody else.
That's crazy.
That's it. That's it. If we could get our minds back to that mindset of what you just said, creating jobs for people. Quit worrying about chasing the dollar. Create the jobs.
Exactly. Yeah.
It'll all come. You're doing it the right way. I can tell by the look in your eye. I can tell by the way you carry yourself. You've got a great attitude, and I think this is, I wish I could be a fly on the wall the next time you and your buddies do one of these brainstorming sessions, because you're going to get the point someday where you're going to be like, yeah, we're done with that one. Let's do another one.
It's exciting. It's really cool. And just like having the infrastructure, because you learn from the mistakes you're making now. Like, there's so many things I could wish that we went back 2 years and fixed. But the next company, it's going to be better off.
My dad built houses. And I remember when I was in my teens, he told a guy who was building a house for a guy. And the guy said, I want this house to be perfect. And my dad stopped the conversation. He says, I've been building houses for 50 years, and I've still built a perfect house. And, sometimes the adventure is almost as fun as the destination.
100%.
So, well, Chris, the door is open to you anytime you want to come back. We want to hear about advances. I don't want to hear about 40,000 units. I would love to see you do six figures on units this year. I think that'd be
amazing.
That'd be totally amazing. Come back, give us an update.
I appreciate it.
You bet, buddy.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Thank you.